Hey, everybody, welcome to Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson. So glad that you're here. This is episode number 48. We've done 48 of these things, and, the viewer, the listenership keeps expanding and exploding. So I am so honored. And today's a little different episode. I want to talk about. I was watching a movie this week, and we've had it on Vudu, which is what we own. Hold on. No. Hey, everybody. Corey Peterson here. Excited multifamily Oh, my gosh. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson, and I'm so excited that you are here. Man, I love doing this podcast. I love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do is to sit down and talk about my life's experiences, have great guests come on the show, and really just do things that I feel like are important. And today, we're going to head off into something different, and I want to talk about things that really matter, like life. And so, we were watching. Me and my family were watching. I Can Only Imagine. That's the new show. It's not new. It's already been out, but it just came out on Vudu, and so we bought it and we were watching it as family, and I couldn't help but get emotional. And I'm not. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I cried, and in that emotional state, I'm actually just recording this podcast after watching that show, and it made me thought of my life, and I want to talk to you about the journey of real estate, and what you need to be prepared for, and what you can expect. I think it's an amazing road, and like that song says, I can only imagine. I couldn't imagine what my life is today. When I started in 2005, I started my company, and I had no idea that I'd be having my own podcast talking about being a multimillionaire and talking about the cash flow life and all these things that life has given me, and so I'm humble in that when you start from nothing, and I started from nothing, okay, to go into a place where you make an extreme amount of money, it is a different thing. And I've tried to keep myself as grounded as possible, grounded in family, friends, and in things that keep you just right. And surround yourself and do things that you enjoy. I still love doing real estate. I don't think I'll ever stop buying apartments. I find that I enjoy it. I have a knack for it, and I enjoy the process. But there were times, life is a lot easier now, but it wasn't always easy. And it's still sometimes not easy. Sometimes I give myself new challenges. And, I want to talk about limiting beliefs. So much of my life, believe it or not, I doubted myself. I never thought I was worthy. Okay, so I'm going to tell some stories about me today that are dark, right? And that I'm not so proud of. I mean, I've always felt like I could do it, but then there was times that I didn't, and those are the dark times. I think we all go through them. I feel like sometimes it's human to have self-doubt, and it's hard to conquer sometimes. And sometimes when life gives you lemons, it's hard to even think about lemonade. And those are the parts in life that I want to talk about and just kind of reveal, a little bit of my upbringing, a little bit, just to tell the story, because I was a used car salesman. When you don't get out of, I didn't go to college really. I tried to go to college, and I got suspended my first semester and expelled the second semester, and I just wasn't focused. I wasn't focused. I didn't I didn't have a vision of why school was important, and so then I started to sell cars. And when I first met my wife, I think my limiting belief was I was not worthy, right? And so you try to mask your inefficiencies, and I was no different. I mean, even though I was a used car salesman, I was proud. I sold cars, but deep down, I was like, dude, I'm a used car salesman. Like, how do you get over that stigmatism, right? It's hard. And I remember when I was dating my wife. Now, my wife's sister, Leslie, she's like, one day, I'll never forget it. She's like, Corey, why do you always got to be a Tommy Topper? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She's like, and the truth is here, someone would say, hey, Corey, I've been to Vegas. I was like, I've been to this pool, or I went on a ski trip. And I'd be like, well, I went on an even better ski trip. If you went to the ocean, I went to an amazing place on the beach at the ocean. I was a Tommy Topper. I always felt like I had to prove who I was, because internally I felt like I didn't have it. And so I had to try to outwardly prove and overprove and really create this false bravado of who I am, and it just made me look all about myself. And the right word is I was a Tommy Topper. If you've done something, I've done something better. And how horrible, how horrible. And I struggled with that for a long, long time. And what I was really struggling with was my self-doubt about myself. Okay? You may be sitting there listening to this right now, and you may be doubting yourself. And I'm here to tell you that is natural. It happens sometimes. Don't be afraid of it, right? The trick is you've got to move out of that spot, right? The self-doubt, the limiting beliefs. How do you get past that? And for the longest time, I didn't know how. And, I never really started to read until I was like about 32. I mean, I'd read little books, but I really started reading at 32 when I got the bug for real estate. I started reading a lot. And I started feeding my brain and my mind, and I started to grow. And I read real estate books, and I also started to read books by like Tony Robbins and, Zig Ziglar and, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I started to cultivate my mind a little bit. My mind started to become a little bit stronger and knowing who I was. And once you get to the point where you start to know who you are and just accept who you are, accept it, right? Accept that, hey, I'm here and I'm trying to go here. There's no shame in that. And it took me a long, long time to be like, to have the confidence to say, I am who I am. Now, even to this day, here I am, a successful real estate entrepreneur, but let me tell you, there's plenty of people that are way farther up the rung than I am. And, I could look at that and be like, oh my gosh, I'm just down here still. I'm just still down here. And that self-doubt can come marching right back in. And, the challenge to you and even to myself is to not get caught up in it. It's just to stay true to yourself. And that is hard. It is hard to do because we live in a world of Facebook, of Instagram. And, obviously, I do that stuff. I do it for marketing. In fact, I don't do it as much. I have a team that does it for me, if I'm honest. Now I take the pictures, or I have a photographer that takes the pictures for me, and we try to post inspirational stuff out there. But in this day and age of creating personas and image and all this stuff, it's so easy to be someone that you're not. And in my mind, I think sad, how sad for people to um, be one way at home, but when they go to work, they're a totally separate person. When they go to sports, they're a totally separate person. When they go to church, they're a totally separate, different person. And, you know, I just don't know how to do it. I don't. And I'm just me. I'm frankly, what you see is what you get. And that's actually, I get that as a compliment a lot. And so is that, hey, listen, Corey, you're the same. No matter here or there or anywhere, you're kind of the same. You're the same dude. And they say that's you're just a common man. Well, I guess I wear that with a badge of pride. But I have dreams and goals and hopes. I don't want to be common. I want to be extraordinary, right? But I believe that I stay true to myself, and I have a big I don't care button, right? I didn't have it in the beginning. I used to have a what will people think button. How many people right now, if you're honest, the what will people think button is big, right? And it's like, man, what will people think? What would people say if they knew that I don't live in this big McMansion? I just live in the same house that I've lived in for the last 12 years of my life with my kids. What would people say if they knew that I moved out of the house 3 years into when I bought it because I couldn't afford it? What would they say, right? Because that happened to me. I moved out of the house that I'm recording right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the house that I moved out of. My whole family. We moved into my wife's sister's house into a 1-bedroom. Now we did it on purpose, but did we? Because we really needed the money, right? We needed to save money, and we need to get out of debt. And we said to ourselves, everything's on the table. There's nothing that we're not willing to do. And, in the beginning, it was hard. It was hard to face your neighbors, face people that you care about, and to say, to let them know the real you. And, we finally just said, we make no apologies for it. We are who we are. I am who I am, and that's all that I am. And once you take on that mindset, man, it is amazing the freedom that comes with it. Because then you can just be authentically you. And so I want to challenge you right now. Think about what the life you've been leading. Not everybody's like this, but some people are living dual lives. And I challenge you to stop it. Just be you. And don't be ashamed to be you. Sometimes in life you have to play the part, right? So I'll give you an example of playing the part. There's times when I'm going out to speak at an event that I wear a suit. Now, I'm not a suit dude. I hate wearing a suit. On my website, Kahuna Investments, all the images of me are in a suit and a tie. I only wear that if I absolutely have to, but for my corporate company that buys apartments and raises money, it serves me well to be that, to have that. But, and that's part of who I am. But it's not truly, I'm in my Harley gear today. And when I give a lot of my podcasts and what's going on, I'm usually very, very consistent in, I'm just authentically me. What I wear to work every day is usually jeans and my polo shirt that says Kahuna Investments. Out of my shirt choices, I've got red, blue, white, gray, and black. And they all say Kahuna Investments. I tend to wear those more than anything. And then I have my Rinse Do shirt. I wear that a lot. And so, but I'm just saying, I'm authentically me, and I try to be as much me as possible. But sometimes in life, you have to play the part, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Just play the part, but don't let it consume you. Don't be somebody that you're not, right? Don't be somebody that you're not. But just be true to yourself. And I see so many people that are not, and they're living these shadow lives. And today I got we're gonna actually have him on my podcast. I had someone that came to my boardroom, my first boardroom, Kahuna boardroom, and he just sent me a private message through Facebook, and he's like, "Hey, I've it's Jurgen. I don't know how to say his last name. I want to say it's Bushi, but I know that's right, probably right. But anyways, he's 22 years old, and he took the concepts of how I've taught and teach to raise private money, and he's raised almost $1 million. A 20, and hold on, let me just pull it up because I gotta give it some justice here. So hold on, I'm gonna go onto Facebook right now and just pull it up because I thought his comment was really cool, and it moved me, and it makes me feel like this is the reason why I teach and coach, is to give back, because I've been blessed. I've truly been blessed, and who am I to not help other people out and let them share some of the great things that happened, right? So he said, "Hey Corey, I've just under $1 million in private money raised with a partner. Can you send me details on that deal? So I have a deal that's closing that you need funding for. You've changed my life. Knowledge is power. Never thought people would trust me with money at my age." Dude, I remember him talking. Him talking, and he's like, "Why, should I come to your boardroom? I'm 22. Is it gonna make a difference?" And I was like, "Man, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter your age, man. It just doesn't. People don't care. What they more care about is, what are you saying? Do you believe it? Are you true? People are always looking at you saying, do I like you, know you, trust you? Do I resonate with you?" And I've always believed this, is that you will attract the right people, and you will repunge, I guess, everybody else, or repel everybody else. And that's just the way of life goes. You attract people that are more like you, and you repel people that are totally opposite. And that's okay. That's how, when I raise private money, most people I raise money from are good people. They're great, and they understand me. And I'm not the most analytical person in the world. I'm just not built that way. Now, I hire people that are. So when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting, I'm not a good bookkeeper. I suck. But I have great people that are, and I hire them. My Duckett and Ladd, my CPA firm, that is all my accounting. I mean, they're amazing. And rightfully so. They should be amazing. And I've never said I was the sharpest tool in the shed, but I know how to find sharp people. And so that's the trick, is you don't have to be a master of all the things. Just be true to yourself. And then if you will take stock of who you are, and then say, where do I want to go? And how do I get there? What are the pieces that I need? I mean, when I started my journey, since 2005, and what a journey. I mean, I used to say, like I said, I couldn't imagine what I'm doing now. Didn't have the vision for it. But I did surround myself. My first vision was, man, I saw Bruce. He had time and money. I wanted time and money. And I knew real estate was the vehicle. Then that's really all I knew. And I took that idea. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to tell you right now, you are in the right spot. Real estate is the right vehicle. I'm convinced wholeheartedly. I mean, with everything that I am, that real estate is the absolute right thing. I mean, it is. I mean, most millionaires are made by real estate. I'm a multimillionaire because of real estate. I'm living the life that most people will never experience because of real estate. But it's not because I was a fix and flipper. It's not because I was a wholesaler. I got rich in real estate when I started to buy and hold in the multifamily space. And so I'm a big believer in the buy and hold strategy. And I don't personally think that you can make lots of money through single family homes. I know you can. They don't cash flow as well. A lot of times, you think about buying a rental house, single house portfolio. The way I've seen successful people do it is to buy lots of them, and then 5, 10 years from now they sell half, and they pay the other half off. Then you're very successful in real estate, right? Then they have cash flow. And with apartments, it's just easier to do it in one swoop. So like, we just closed on a $5 million property called University Crossings. Woohoo! We closed, right? Now that update is I've not even sent my official update because I like to get all my ducks in a row. I like to have the local paper produce the we do a promo to the papers, and so they print it. And I like to have that print. I like to go online because most people go online now. They have your articles online, so you can pull that. I like to get my certified appraisal after I've closed, so I can show the value of the property. And when I have all those things, then I like to say, guess what? We closed something, right? And I'm very slow to, toot the horn. And sometimes you got to toot your own horn, right? Sometimes it's okay, but I don't think you should brag, right? It's more of a statement. Hey, our company is doing well, and in that aspect, when you talk about your company is in business to make money. So you don't ever have to be ashamed of making money and telling the story of your company's success. I think that's totally natural, and as companies, that is the job. That is called marketing. Marketing is a big part of what you do. But in my personal life, when I take off my Kahuna Investments hat, I'm always I try to be as real as possible, right? So I'm encourage you to be as real as possible, so you're not living dual lives, because most people that do that, they're not happy, and there's stress involved when you have to I have to turn it on, and then I got to turn off, turn on, turn off. Well, that sucks. Who wants to do that? But real estate is the right vehicle. It is the one thing that I know that you can, if you will start your journey and start going towards that style of life, man, it can change your life, because it's changed mine. And, the other part so reading was one thing that I did to help, my limiting beliefs, my Tommy Topper attitude, right? So I started reading. That helped me get and start having confidence. And then finding mentors was the other thing that I did that really helped me become confident enough to where I eventually stopped being a Tommy Topper. And it was really weird now as I've looked back, and I've, I notice other Tommy Toppers. When I say something, they go right over you, and they're like, well, I did something better. And I was like, man, that's how I used to be. And I understand the why now, is because a lot of times they have to feel like they're important. And, so often in life, it is so easy to feel unimportant. And I'm going to tell you right now that you are important. God created you special. And you have great gifts. You have a great mind. And God put you on this earth for a reason. He put me on earth for a reason, right? And, find your uniqueness and just go with it. I mean, I didn't get the download from the mothership till I was 32 years old. I mean, I sold cars. I managed restaurants. I sold groceries to restaurants. I've sold Kirby vacuum cleaners. I worked at McDonald's, my first job. I swept floors at Ramey's when I was in high school. Um, I mean, I've done almost. I mean, I've roofed with my father. I've done a lot of different things, and until I got the download, and for the last since I became 32 years old, I think I'm now 40. I'm getting ready to turn 45. I've been focused on one thing: real estate, and it's amazing what happens when you focus. And I want to encourage you to stay focused. If you've not listened to all my podcasts, go to the beginning. The first six are the best. Okay, I'm not going to lie. The first six are the money, man. That's where the juice is worth the squeeze. And, those are fun episodes. And, all this other stuff along the way is like the thing, is like the stuff that you need. And sometimes you got to go where to get what you need. And for me, after I read books, the second step that I learned is really to find mentors, is to find people that I could feed me, that I could communicate with. And so one of the ways that I have that available for people that are listening to the podcast is to come to my Kahuna boardroom. And the boardroom is where, and I've intentionally made it very hard to get in, right? So I only want 35 people. I do this event 3 times a year. And if you want to go, go to kahunaboardroom.com and apply. We're actually making the application process simpler. We made it really too hard for most, and so we're going to make it a little simpler. But you got to, I really want to hear your story. I want to know why you want to be involved. And so that's a great way if you are, and I'm not saying that I'm going to mentor you from your whole life, but the reason I keep it small is because then I can be accessible. And I feel like in this day and age, there's not enough people, or we'll call them gurus, which I'm not, that are teaching that they want to run off the stage. As soon as they're done talking, they want to run off the stage, or they want to talk about how bad they are. Or look at my car, my G8, my plane, my this, my that, my. And I want to vomit. And I just want to be the anti whatever that is. That's not my goal. That's not even not who I am. I drive a truck. I don't have a sports car. I drive a truck. And that's my people. I'm for the little man. I'll always be for the little man. And a lot of us that started that were successful, that are successful, some of us have started from nothing. Now, if you didn't start from nothing, doesn't mean that I can't relate, because I wish I would have started from a little bit more means. I would have got faster to where I wanted to go. Right? So, but like a lot of people that come to our boardroom are doctors, dentists, lawyers, chiropractors, or there's that groups of people that have been successful in they're self-employed. They own their own jobs, but even then, and they may be making better income, but they're frustrated as hell. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because they still got to clock in each and every day. And I'm telling you, so remember, there's 2 things that most of us crave in life. And one is time, and the other one is money. And time becomes more valuable, I think. Time is so valuable. And I know it now, like on my calendar. I use my calendar. I've got to block my time because it's valuable. But there's a lot of people out there that are self-employed, doctors, dentists, lawyers, chiropractors, professional people working. My wife was in corporate America, and she had to go to work each and every day. And she made a decent income, but she had no time. The company told you how much time you could have. And it was never enough. And honestly, the pay was never enough. Not for what you're really worth. Hey, no company will ever pay you what you're really worth. You know why? They would go broke. If you got paid what you were really worth, there's no way. So it's called a job just over broke, right? Because that's how the game is set. And so now, how do you get to the other side? Well, you've got to choose to be your own boss. So that means you got to start a company. And The best one that I know that requires the least amount of time is in real estate. And more importantly, in my for me, from what I've learned, and I don't know a lot, like people ask me, "Hey Corey, why don't you build an apartment?" And I look at them like I get all like I want to turn my head and be like, um, I don't know how to buy an apartment. I don't even know how to build it. Like, how would I do that? I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. All I know how to do is to buy old crap, old 70s and 80s apartments and fix them up and put great management and fix up the broken stuff. Like that's my hustle. That is my only hustle, dude. That's all I know how to do. And it works. So why try to chase another rabbit? And so for me, I'm biased in my opinion. I'll say it's multifamily apartments because people got to live somewhere and they don't build 70s and 80s apartments no more. And there's lots of bad owners that are not very good at the management side. And now it's not that I have a management company. Like I run my multi-million dollar business in my house. Like you're watching it right now if you're watching YouTube. I'm in my house. I run my multi-million dollar business with me. I got Sarah over here in the corner and my wife's over there. And that's the three desks. And then I have a virtual assistant and my dad that works from his home. That's the team. And then we hire out everything else. I third party everything else. I just went and I spend an enormous amount of time trying to find great people. And then I'm just a connector. I'm like, I need my management company is the best. I mean, there's without it, hands down, they're the best. And they manage my properties well. Like we're 97% or 100% on everything that I own. That's saying something, right? And I pay them well. I pay them well. Oh my gosh, I pay them a lot of money. And but there's a reason. Because then I can do what I want to do, which is have my time and some money. Because I like to go play. I like to go on vacations. We're getting ready to go to, I'm going to go back home. And we've got some stories. So be watching on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. We're going to be posting some stories. I'm going back home to West Plains, Missouri. And I'm going to my homecoming. I'm bringing my daughter with me. That's going to be a lot of fun. And to let her experience Friday night lights. And, I live in a town grew up in a town of about 10,000 people. But come Friday, it's all about West Plains football. And how cool is that? It's a neat thing. It's a neat thing. And, we have turf on our little high school field, like real turf. And, of course, it's sponsored by my good friend Andy. Her parent, Andy Hilburn, owns the McDonald's in our city and a couple other surrounding areas. And she is so gracious enough to help donate. And I think, she helped raise most of the money through her McDonald's and through her companies to donate the field. There's a little McDonald's logo on the grass, on the fake grass. How cool is that, though? But, that's how important our little town is when it comes to sports. Like, the whole town gets around it. It's a pretty neat thing. So, listen, I don't want to waste your time on who I am or my little exploits. But I really want to take the time to say this, is be true to yourself. Don't be somebody that you're not. Don't sit there and, fake it all the time. You don't have to fake it. Sometimes just be honest. I don't have this. I'm trying to go here. Ask for help a lot. I ask for help a lot. I mean, more often than not. So here's a great example. I've got a friend. Her name's Hannah. And Hannah, in her previous life, she was a book editor. And she's edited books and copyright and I'm writing my book. My book's coming out in February called Copy Your Way to Success. And so I gave her my book, and because Now, I could go find the right people, but it would take me a long time to do this. Or I can just say, Hannah, here's my book. Here's $1,000. And what I want you to do is go employ, and I'll pay for the cost, all the right people to do the design of the book, to do the setting of the book, to do what does she call it? The developmental edit, the copying edit, the proofreading edit. There's all different versions of these edits in your book to get the final version. And I would have never known any of this, but Hannah knows. And so guess what? I'm smart enough to, and I asked for help. Hannah, can you help me? Would you like to help me? I'll even put your credits in my book because I want to give credit where credit is due, because I'm not that smart. And like the book says, I like to copy my way to success. And you should too, because in the day of information, there is so much stinking information out there for anything that you want to do. And that's partly why you're here on my podcast, hopefully. And maybe, just maybe, I entertain you just a little bit. Hopefully I entertain you just a little bit so you don't change the stupid dial. Oh, gosh. All right. Listen, with that said, stay true to yourself. Don't be a Tommy Topper. Believe in yourself. Read more books. Feed your mind. Find mentors to help you solve, for X, to help you get there faster. Having a mentor will help you cut down your costly mistakes. Ask me how I know this, okay? I know this works. I wish I had more mentors in my life. I wish I could have found them earlier. I wish I would have knew the value of finding mentors in my life. Take those things, those ideas right there, and then your mind, set your vision. Set your vision on what you want to achieve. Say, I want to achieve 1,000 units. Go out there and get those 1,000 units. Start laying that foundation in your mind. Start believing you can. Start telling yourself each and every day that you can. Because eventually you will. And don't ever, ever quit. Don't ever quit. Most people, they start working, and it's a lot of work, and they go through all the stuff, and they're almost there. They're almost there. And they quit like idiots. Don't quit, man. Quitters never win. They just don't. Don't be a quitter. Take time to believe in yourself, because I believe no matter what, if you truly believe it in your mind, your paradise is possible. Thanks, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.